Lord Rama, Vrundan, trying to reject, Api, although, Dhiya, by intelligence, Suchaha, grief, Smaran, remembering, Tasya, of her, Gunan, qualities, Tan, under different circumstances, Na, not, Asaknot, was able, Rodum, to check, Ishvaraha, although the supreme controller. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After hearing the news of Mother Sita's entering the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was certainly aggrieved. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, upon remembering the exalted qualities of Mother Sita, he could not check his grief in transcendental love. Purport. Lord Ramachandra's grief at the news of Sita's entering the earth is not to be considered material. In the spiritual world also, there are feelings of separation, but such feelings are considered spiritual bliss. Grief in separation exists even in the absolute, but such feelings of separation in the spiritual world are transcendentally blissful. Such feelings are a sign of tasya prema vasyatva sabhavaha, being under the influence of Ladini Shakti and being controlled by love. In the material world, such feelings of separation are only a perverted reflection. Offer prayers. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Desatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhayasya Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Tachutva Bhagavan Ramo Vrindan Api Dhiya Suchaha Swarams Tasya Gunams Tamstan Nasakno Drodum Ishvaraha. After hearing the news of Mother Sita entering the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was certainly aggrieved. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, upon remembering the exalted qualities of Mother Sita, he could not check his grief in transcendental love. Hare Krishna. Seek blessings of all assembled devotees. Push Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu will be somewhere. All devotees. So we are continuing our discussion from the chapter Lord Ramachandra Rules the World, which Sukadeva Goswami is explaining in brief to Maharaj Parikshit about Lord Rama in the Ikshvaku dynasty. So this is like kind of end of the chapter, not end of chapter, middle of the chapter here, where because Sita was banished by Lord Ram to the forest, and then Sita Devi, he had two sons, Lava and Kusha. So after that, now Sita Devi, her two sons she entrusted to Valmiki Muni. Then meditating upon Lord Ramachandra's feet, she entered into the earth to finish the pastimes on the earthly planet. So Sita Devi is the internal energy of Lord Ram, we all know. Radha Krishna is Sita Ram. Same expansion. So here, after Mother Sita entered into the earth, Lord Ramachandra, he became very aggrieved. So in this verse, it is mentioned, Tashrutva Bhagavan Ramo. So after hearing the news of Mother Sita entering, it is mentioned Bhagavan Ramo, that Ram is the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. Rodun api diya sucha. So he started, he started, he couldn't, he started aggrieved, and he started Smaran tasya gunas tam tam. Started remembering all the qualities of Mother Sita, Nasaknodi Rodham Ishvara. He's mentioning about here, that he could not check his grief, and then he started actually the kind of tears coming from his eyes, and then but he mentioned Ishvara. So two times mentioned here. One is Bhagavan Ramo, another is Uddham Ishvara. Two times is mentioned about who Lord Ram is, to clearly signify that it is not an ordinary, like how the persons in the material world have they deal with their feelings. So like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya Dekshena Prakrute Suyate Sachara. This material nature is under the control of the Supreme Lord, Ishvara. Krishna is the Supreme Controller. So everything is under his control. So everything happens by his will. Lord Ram's will, everything happens by Lord Ram's will. Nothing is beyond his control or beyond his will. But we are under the influence of the material nature. All the material in the living entities in the material world are under the influence of the material nature. So our position and Lord's position is completely different. Lord is Ishvara and we are Anu. He is Vibhu. He is the Supreme Controller, and we are the part and parcel of Lord. So we are part and parcel means that all the qualities we are getting are coming from the Lord. So we have these feelings of happiness and then grief and all compassion, and we have feelings of loving, and all these feelings we are getting, they are coming from the Supreme Lord, because we are part and parcel, like the ocean and a drop of ocean. A drop of ocean drop of water in the ocean has same qualities from ocean. So all the ocean has salt water. Ocean has all the salt water qualities. So a drop will have the same quality. So we cannot say that, okay, this drop has the salt quality, it has salt taste, but ocean doesn't have. No, it is part and parcel. So if we have already the feelings of, we have happiness and we have feelings of misery, we get aggrieved, we get delighted, all these feelings we have, means certainly God also has the feelings. God also has feelings. Not only Bhagavatam says, all the scriptures says that. Like we hear all the religions, all the scriptures, they say in other religions also, God is merciful. Allah means all merciful, all powerful, like that. God is all powerful is a quality, but all merciful. Merciful is a quality. It is which Lord expresses feeling. It is mercy feeling. It is Lord is expresses that feeling. And then so all compassionate. So say that God is all compassionate. So compassion is a feeling. So Krishna has all these wonderful qualities. How wonderful is Krishna? It is coming to us, all these qualities he gave to us. The only problem is our qualities are all under the influence of the material nature, and Lord's qualities are under his own control. So how to understand this? So our qualities are under the influence of material nature because we're conditioned here. Our condition means, example Prabhupada gives, is like dreaming. So when we are dreaming, we experience the things happening in the dream. Suppose the dream, there is somebody is coming to kill us, a lion, a tiger is coming to kill us. Then we are like afraid, and we are like sweating, and we are experiencing that feelings of fear. And even in the dream, sometimes we get hurt or something, and we experience the pain in the dream. And sometimes we are meeting some old friend, and somewhere we are going, and then we are experiencing happiness, bliss in the dream. But when we wake up, we know it's a dream, because that's not real. In the dream, it is we are misidentifying ourselves. The dream, we are in some other place, which is not real. In the dream, we are like we are afraid by tiger, which is not real. But in the dream, we feel that it is real. It is. Yes. So similarly, the material world we are living in, and we are living in these bodies, it is all like a dream, because this is not real. It's temporary. It looks like real, but it is not. It's not permanent. It's going to stay for some time, and it'll go away. All the relations we have, and all the place we have, all this, the body, everything, the house we are living in, all the equipment we have, is all temporary. So the feelings we are experiencing here is like the feelings experienced in the dream. But Lord's feelings are not like that. So Lord's is absolute. He never changes. His associates never change. So they are always there. They are absolute. They are. Lord Ram is absolute. He just goes from one place to another. He comes to the earth. He does the pastimes. He's always staying in the spiritual world. He's doing the pastimes. In those pastimes, there are all kinds of rasas are there. There are all kinds of feelings are there. So that's the difference. That in our thing, it is we are part and parcel, of course, but our feelings are our perverted reflection, like Prabhupada says in the purport. Perverted reflection it is. In Bhagavad Gita, in 15th chapter, Krishna says how this whole world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. He's telling, Urdhva Moolam Adashakam Ashwattham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi yasya purnani yastam veda savedavit. Supreme Lord is said that it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. So this is like the perverted reflection of the original banyan tree. This banyan tree is so on the bank of a lake. If there is a tree, then it is reflected. So the roots are seen upwards and the leaves are seen downwards. In the reflection it happens, not in the real tree. The real tree, the roots are down, the leaves are up. But the reflection of the same object is the opposite completely. So in this world, everything is perverted reflection. That means it is not real. Reflection, the tree looks real, but it's not real. The appearance looks very the tree. In the tree, there the mango tree is there, the mango fruit. The fruit you will see in the water, but it's not real. If someone dives into the lake for the fruit, they won't get it. So like that, in this world, everything is under influence of material nature, three modes, everything is governed by three modes. Three modes are pushing the living entities for how to act. And based on three modes, influence of three modes, the living entity is expressing different kinds of feelings. Sometimes happiness, sometimes distress and all. But these feelings, this material world has duality. Duality means there is good and bad. There is happiness and misery. There is a high and low. So this duality is there. The living entity is sometimes happy, sometimes misery. Sometimes he is in love with someone and is separation in someone. The living entity is loving a near and dear one relative or near and dear one. And then when that relative or that family member passes away, there is separation. There is grief. This duality is there. But in spiritual world, that duality is not there. In spiritual world, every feeling gives bliss. Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport here that though Lord Ramachandra is expressing the feelings of separation, but it is pure spiritual bliss. The grief exists in the absolute, but that grief, that separation is transcendently blissful. So that grief is not like the material world grief, the grief in the material world. Mother Sita is experiencing separation and Lord Ram experiencing separation. They are both, but that is giving them the bliss. In this material world, if a husband and wife or a boyfriend, girlfriend, they are separated, that gives them misery, but not in the spiritual world. Because there is no actual separation. The separation is there. In the separation, there is union is there. Because absolute it is. Because they are not under the influence of material nature. And they are not, that is real. Those things of separation are absolute. And they are the highest. The feelings of separation in spiritual world are more blissful than union. That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to experience that separation, because Lord wants to experience the separation as a devotee. So he appeared as a devotee to experience that separation of feelings. So that some consider that Lord has no feelings and he's just an order giver, or he's just powerful personality, he's just condemning all the sinful people. That's the incomplete understanding of the Lord. So Lord has the fact that something exists in us, that means it is there in the Lord. But the only difference is that Lord is absolute, and Lord's feelings and Lord's all that Lord does is completely transcendental. So stealing is bad, but when Lord Krishna steals butter and other things, that is completely blissful. So Krishna is blissful, and then those from whom he is stealing, they are more blissful. That Lord is coming to steal from our house, like that. But the same thing, if anybody does in the material world, that causes them misery. And then for the thief who is stealing causes anxiety. But anything Lord does, it is gives bliss. That is transcendental and absolute nature of the Lord. So he is expressing these feelings of separation here from Mother Sita just to have that transcendental bliss. Nothing else it is. It's not, that sometimes it's misunderstood. People consider, like Krishna says, that Mudas, it is Manasham Pranam Ashrita. That one who thinks that, I am like a human, and I am taken this body like a human, and I am like a human. They are the Mudas, ignorant, they are ignorant people. But our acharyas and the scriptures say that, no, though Lord expresses all these feelings, Lord is different. That's why in this verse, it's mentioned twice, Bhagavan and Ishvara, to say, hey, it's not ordinary, this is not ordinary separation, this is not ordinary grief, it is the grief of the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan Ishvara, is the Supreme Lord's separation and the grief, it is, which is transcendental, which gives the supreme bliss. And then that bliss, so for devotees of Lord, every feeling of Lord gives bliss. So to study or to read or to hear, it gives them bliss. So there are devotees, who, when these pastimes are narrated, they completely get immersed in these pastimes, and then they go with the feelings in the pastimes happening. There are like devotees, when this narration is happening, like how Lord Mother Sita is stolen, and how Lord is is separation and all. That is, there are devotees like King Kulashekara, is a great saintly king coming in South India, in Kerala. He's a great devotee of Lord. He's a great devotee of Lord Ram. This King Kulashekar, he would every day hear the pastimes of Lord Ram. And then in those pastimes, he would enter into the pastime of the Lord. He's completely entering into the pastime of the Lord. So it so happened that, when he's in the pastime, once it happened, so he's completely entering into the pastimes. So they know that, Lord enters into the pastimes. Every day they made a rule that in all the ministers and all that, those brahmanas who comes and read the pastimes to the Lord the King Kulashekara, they should read only happy pastimes, not the grief, because he goes into grief. He'll go into full separation, and then he'll go into grief. So once what happened is, the chief, one brahmana, he didn't come, he sent his son. But the son didn't know this detail. He started narrating the pastime of Mother Sita's kidnapping of Mother Sita. So when he was narrating the pastime of Mother Sita getting kidnapped, immediately King Kulashekara ordered his army, hey, Mother Sita is getting kidnapped, we should go and rescue her, we should go and fight with Ravana and kill him. Let's march towards the Panchavati. In Kerala, and Panchavati is in the middle of, in mid-India, in Nashik it is. So he actually declared a war, and then because he's the king, he ordered everyone, the whole army had moving towards north. And then everything, and then he's telling Mother Sita is in danger, we should go and protect her. Immediately we should go, and he's going very fast. And then the ministers are wondering what to do, how to, this thing, because that's in Ramayana, but Lord is completely immersed in this. So what they sent a few of their soldiers ahead, through some fast horses they sent ahead, and then they went, and then they turned, and then they came back in the same route opposite to King Kulashekar's army. And they came and said, my dear king, we are just coming from Panchavati, and then Lord Ram came there, and he has rescued Mother Sita. Mother Sita is out of danger now. Oh, then, okay, then, he goes back like that. So this happened when when they are narrating the story like this. So then they decided that all the ministers decided, all the brahmanas, we should not mention all these type of things. We should only say read blissful things from Ramayana. And then, one day that his son came, the Brahmana's son came. He didn't know this. He started again narrating the Ramayana, and then he started narrating the pastime where Lord Ram is fighting Lord Ravan, not Lord, was fighting this demon Ravana. So Ram is fighting Ravana, and then King Kulashekar says, Lord Ram is alone with a small army. And with this small army, Lord Ram is fighting with the demons, the Khara and Dushan demons, and alone is fighting. So with Khara and Dushan, after this, when this attack Lord Ram in the forest, so at that time again King Kulashekara declared that we should go and fight. I'm sorry, I'm missing the details, but actually it is a war between Lord Ram and Ravana. He narrated. So he said, no, we should go to Sri Lanka to help Lord Ram to fight Ravana. And then he took all the army, King Kulashekar, and he went towards the ocean. So in Sukha, in Kerala, he's there, he went towards ocean to cross the ocean to Sri Lanka. At that time, all the wanderers, they went by the bridge built by all the soldiers, but there was no bridge. So King Kulashekara went near the ocean. He didn't stop there. He started riding his horse into the ocean, and then the horse also couldn't go inside the ocean seeing the water. He got down from the horse with his sword. He just walked into the ocean, the knee deep is water, and then waist deep, and then he completely got submerged into the water. And then all the army, they stood at the shore and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything because he's holding his sword on the water up, and then he's just walking into the water like that to just go and to be with Lord Ram, fighting Lord Ravana. So at that time, seeing that Lord Ram himself appeared to King Kulashekara and he said that I have killed Ravana and I'm going to Ayodhya now, you go back to your kingdom. He appeared in front of Kulashekara, and Kulashekara, he comes back. So that is this thing, this devotees, he does pastimes, Lord does these pastimes to give the same feelings among the devotees, which are the devotee also experience this blissful feelings. They experience the same bliss which Lord experiences along with his devotees when one is completely immersed in those feelings. So that is the transcendental nature of this Lord's pastimes. Though they look like ordinary pastimes of this material world, of how we see a person, a husband losing his wife, how he cries or how he is in misery, but this is different disease. This is absolute disease. This is completely that gives bliss, not only to this Lord, but to all the living entities who even hear the pastimes. Adish Purush Prabhu is raising his hand. Yes, Prabhuji.
I was listening to Prabhupada's class last night, and he was talking about Lord Chaitanya's feelings of separation. And he said, Lord Chaitanya said, I'm not a real devotee. If I was a real devotee, I would die. I could not live because Prabhupada said, because the lover cannot live without the beloved. He would just die, And he said, Lord Chaitanya was saying, I'm not a real devotee. And when I hear these, we can talk about the sadness of the Lord and how it's transcendental, but shouldn't we be crying and weeping? When we just talk about it and we don't really feel like a person who is taking a sedative, their awareness is dull and their emotions are dull, and I feel like, well, I must be like that at least, because I'm not feeling pain in my heart to heal that Sita left and Lord Ramachandra was separated from her. It's like, it's horrible, right? I mean, it's really, really, really like the worst possible thing we could hear about. And yet, you see any tears coming from my eyes? One tear? Anything? Oh my God. I'm so dull. Anyway, we can talk about these things, but do we actually respond? How do we respond to hearing it? Like Kulishekar Maharshi was like, he couldn't even bear to hear these things, right? I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, we can't see it, but your heart has all those feelings. Your heart has tears coming from your heart.
I'm not crying and I'm not dying, so I think I must be very dull. Anyway, we have to excuse ourselves right now. We have to go move the vehicle, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm sure you'll finish the class on a better note, but it's true. I'm actually starting to feel like I don't want to hear these things. You know, the Ramayana is full of such strong love and exhibition of loving pain that it's almost unbearable for a real devotee. Someday I hope to be a real devotee like you. I want to be like you when I grow up. Okay, Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada.
Yeah, that's your humility. You have all the qualities, all those feelings. So that is the Ramayana is like that scripture where actually those devotees who regularly read Ramayana, they generally have all this. Ramayana, that's what it is. There are devotees who, in journey home, if you read Radhanath Swami, he makes this one, and Babaji in Patna. They are all devotees of Lord Ram, and they would just read Ramayana and just keep crying. So that's their bliss. It is every day they just read and keep crying Ramayana, because those are the transcendental blissful moments for them. So in the spiritual world, even crying is bliss. Everything, there is no duality. There is no something like in this material world. There is actual pain or suffering. No, though seemingly this separation and this pain is actually bliss. So that's and that is what the separation feeling the exalted devotees are aspiring for. Like how Adipesha is aspiring. So like that it is, they are all aspiring for it. So that's the nature of the spiritual qualities, which is completely opposite to this material world. That is my thoughts on this verse from Prabhupada's purport. There are any other questions or comments? We have 7 minutes.
Hare Krishna Sundana Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. I guess this is more of a thought process. If you can comment on it. And I think Adi Purusha Prabhu's comment, I don't say added another twist to it, but when you started class, and I apologize if I'm getting controversial, it does stack up to a question, or I guess like an opinion, I guess a perspective. But you had mentioned that we as spirit souls are Anu. And I've heard this, and you said Anu, part and parcel of the Lord. And I've heard Krishna has three, I guess, I don't say sizes, but one is Anu, Adam, like smallest of the small, and my understanding is formless. Then he has a medium size, which has form. And that's a key distinction, is that it has form. And then the largest of the large, kind of like universal. So he is all three at once.
Let me just comment there that, there's nothing like three or anything medium fall. We didn't hear that in our scriptures. Maybe, it's somewhere else you are getting that information. But, like we have there's Anu and Vibhu. The living entity is part and parcel, and living entities also have the form. The soul has a form. And now that form is taken in the body. The soul is now, they've forgotten their original form and they are taking bodies, different bodily forms. But the living entity also has form, not that they're formless, not that there is something middle and something thing. Maybe that's not what we have been, I have been at least where I have been like thought, or where my understanding is, and our scriptures say. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, I have not read that, and I'm only hearing. So, of course, one of the teachers or sources that I'm learning from have mentioned these kind of three aspects. Not to get into this, but then in one sense, this goes into the question, sorry. But if the living entity always has form, then how can it merge in the Brahma Jyoti, which is formless? So if they always have form, then they would also have form in the Brahma Jyoti if Brahma Jyoti is real destination. I don't know if you want to comment on
Brahma
that, but my
Jyoti
question.
is not the real destination. It can go, Brahma Jyoti is a place, it is. And the living entity goes and stays in that place. It's like in a room, it is, you can go and sit in a room. So Brahma Jyoti, formless means what? There is nothing. Brahma Jyoti is light. In a room full of light, you go and sit. That's what Brahma Jyoti is. And you don't have anything to do there. You will not feel any hunger, you will not feel any thirst, you will not feel any pain and anything. You are just sitting there. But over a period of time, you get bored. That's why it says, scriptures in Bhagavatam that Arudena Prichena Padanti Yada. So even from those, that stage also living entity comes down because you don't have any activity there. Because living entity by nature is Satchidananda Vigraha. Is not Vigraha, Satchidananda nature is. So that is the nature of living entity. So what's Satchidananda? So Satchidananda can happen only when the relationship is there. When there is exchange of love, Satchidananda it is. Otherwise, only Sat nature is Brahma Jyoti, the liberation. That's not our ultimate goal. Even devotees don't even aspire for it. They think it's like going to hell. Going into Brahma Jyoti is. So the Sayujya Mukti, the one type of liberation out of 5, is considered as, it is as good as living in hell because there is nothing there to do. There is no, you are separated from the Lord completely and all the devotees. It is nothing there to do. It is just that one may get liberated from the pains of the material world, but there may be peace, but there is no happiness, there is no bliss is there. There is no ananda, there is no, this only Sat feature is realized, not Chit feature and the Ananda feature. So we are the 3 qualities we have is Satchidananda. So Brahma Jyoti is 100% not the absolute goal of a living entity, and then a living entity can go in Brahma Jyoti. It's just an area in this creation where there is only its light it is, and there is no influence of material nature is there, nor the influence of spiritual nature is there. Like it's mentioned in this verse, Lord Ramachandra is under the influence of Ladini Shakti. Ladini Shakti is the internal energy of the Lord, which is controlled by the Lord himself, and then that acts on the Lord and his devotees, which will evoke these feelings. This is, otherwise, Lord knows that Sita never went anywhere. She is here right next to her because Lord and Sita and Ram are never separated. But Ladini Shakti arranges such a way that to evoke these feelings, and then those feelings gives in turn the bliss to them. But we are under the influence of this material nature, the other nature of the Lord, energy of the Lord, Samvit and this material nature. Ladini Shakti is there, but this is material nature. This is, so under the influence of material nature, we are experiencing these different types of sufferings here. So it is the Satchidananda nature that one has to realize. Then one will come into the influence of the Ladini Shakti. So in the Brahma Jyoti, there is no Shakti influencing, no influence it is. It is just, you can imagine yourself. If you are given a chance, I'll say, no, you are for eternity, you are put in a room full of light, you are completely blinded, and you will not have any feelings. You will not have thirst, you will not have hunger, you will not have anything. You are just sitting there, and you will not have your iPhone also. Nothing, no internet, iPhone, and anything. So can you stay there? It looks like, very promising it is. It looks like, oh, such a nice place it is. But it actually, after some time, it doesn't, it is not the place. That's why those living entities from the Brahma Jyoti, they come down. And there are so many examples in the scriptures also who came down from Brahma Jyoti, Brahman realized persons. The 4 Kumaras were Brahman realized persons. And then when they smelled the tulsi leaf of Lord, and then associated with devotees, they came down from there. When Sukadeva Goswami is completely liberated, he is Brahman realized person. Sukadeva Goswami, but when he heard the Bhagavatam verses from his father Vyasadeva, he became greatest devotee who is sharing Bhagavatam. We have seen so many like that, examples, but we have never seen any example.
Oh, ATM's in the back. Right?
We have never seen an example where where we saw that, where a person is a devotee, completely liberated, and is fully blissful in pastimes of the Lord, and then that devotee has went to Brahmajyoti, because nobody wants to go from bliss to something which is no feelings, no happiness, like that. So that's the teachings of Mahaprabhu and Prabhupada given to us. So that is what our understanding is.
Thank you. I had
The
heard
time,
of
another question, Athena. Can you hold on? Another question I want to read.
Mhm.
Here came the chart. So thank you for the wonderful class. You mentioned that all our feelings come from Lord Krishna. How about our negative feelings such as misery, lust, and hate? Do they also come from Krishna? Are they our own creation? Yeah, everything is coming from Krishna in this material world. Everything is given by Krishna, but it is our choice here. So it is our actions that gives us these feelings, misery, lust, and hate, all these different the bad feelings in this world. They are there. Everything is in this world. Duality is there, like you mentioned. In spiritual world, there is no duality. In this world, the duality is there. Is good and bad is there in this world. But in the spiritual world, there is no duality. Everything is good there. But now here in the is good and bad is there. It's our choice. Our choice that do you want to be with good or want to be with bad? So there is not escape. It is so in this world. One cannot escape from the dualities. If you are experiencing some happiness in the material world, then the misery is bound by it. There is law of karma. There is happiness and there is distress. So that's why our scriptures say that don't look for happiness in the material world, in the material things, in material relationships. Look for happiness in the spiritual, because spiritual is absolute. There, everything is bliss. Even the separation is bliss, and even the union, and even that is also bliss. So as long as we are in this connected to the material world and material persons and material feelings, we are subject to bond both. So we cannot avoid it. If we are thinking that I will get only happiness in the material world by material things, material relationships, and by this all this my possessions and all, definitely duality of this material world nature is that you will get the opposite of it also, just matter of time. Today some same person or same thing that gives us so much happiness gives us equal or greater amount of misery to us in this material world. That's why we have all this, we have experienced all this misery, lust, hate, all this hate, different feelings, because we wanted the opposite of it always. Now we always wanted the happiness in this material world, but misery comes on its own. That's why the scripture says, stop looking for happiness in this world. Prahlad Maharaj says, you want to be happy in this material world, and stop looking for happiness in this material world. So we need to seek out the happiness in spiritual world. That is through our practices, the practices of connecting with Krishna, because the root cause of our misery is forgetfulness of Krishna. Because we have forgotten Krishna and our relationship with Krishna, we are miserable. So that's why we need to we need to revive our relationship with Krishna. The process is given by our acharyas. So the process of this sadhana bhakti, where we are practicing our relationship with Krishna. It starts with chanting the holy names: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by these practices, one can revive our relationship with Krishna, by which we can enter in those spiritual realm, feelings of the spiritual realm, where even the opposites feelings gives the bliss, like how we are explained in this verse, like Lord Ramachandra experiencing those blissful feelings. So that's the message. That's the action. That's the thing, where we need to strive for. That is not to look for happiness in this material world or material things or material objects or material persons, other persons here in this world, but to get those that relationships and all in spirit and spirit, because we are not bodies. Everything related to body is temporary and it'll all go away, but the spirit is not. So that's the message. So it's 8:05. I would like to stop here. Interest of all others. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.